Hello, welcome into this mystery reading. I'm Molly, the QuantumLeapQueen. Thanks for joining me on this reading. These readings are a timeless resource for you to come utilize whenever you need some extra nourishment in your life. So I'm going to set the intention as always to give you the best messages that you need to hear today. And we are going to start with the tarot. This is the Pulp Tarot. I don't have the box for it, but that's what it is. I always have the decks listed below in the description. What are we talking about? I have the Two of Cups. What else? Okay, I got the Four of Swords. It could be that we're talking about a relationship. From the Two of Cups to the Four of Swords, it reminds me of like being with someone and now being alone, perhaps. What else? What else about this? We have the Three of Wands, the Magician, the Knight of Cups, yeah. I want to say in this relationship, you never felt truly seen and acknowledged to the depths that you were hoping to be seen and acknowledged. With the Three of Wands, I felt like you always, actually, if you look back in this relationship, you felt alone a lot. And, you had to hold yourself in many ways. You weren't really supported by a partner that was showing up 100%. You were occasionally supported by a partner that had one foot in and one foot out. And that's kind of what I feel about this relationship. The Magician and the Knight of Cups here. You can see it's funny because it's in the relationship, this person was pulling a lot of strings or playing a lot of games, acting one way, but then they kind of had an alternate personality or just a hidden aspect of the Knight of Cups. And you can see how the Knight of Cups is looking in the other way, away from you, away from the relationship. That's how I feel like it was. And that's why I say one foot in, one foot out. On one aspect, they think okay, I can do it all. I can invest enough in this person and in this relationship to keep it going, and I can keep the door open and keep my eye wandering and just look and just see if there's anything better out there. If the grass is greener somewhere else. Sorry to be a little stark, but I just see that's a little bit how it was. You didn't, and that's why you didn't feel fully safe, is because you could feel your partner not being in it 100%, you were in it 100%. And that's where it just hurts and pains you. And maybe there was but on both sides, perhaps, maybe there was escape mechanisms to just make it through. But at the end of the day, obviously it takes two to tango. And you were with someone that wasn't really committed on the same level that you wanted to be committed. And that's a hard, tough lesson. Let me ask what else is going on here. I have the Three of Pentacles. What else with that? I have the Eight of Wands and the Two of Wands. Okay, so here highlights another difference between the two of you. You're a very feely person. You could even say spiritual person. Not that you're not logical when you need to be, but that's kind of you've kind of learned that actually listening to your body's intelligence, to your heart's intelligence, is the wisest thing. And who you were with is very much operated from mind, analytics, exactly kind of how this picture depicts, laying it out, making a plan based on logic. And so that's a major difference between the two of you, first. And not that these kind of relationships can't work. Definitely they can. But the difference was he or she or they're not super connected to the aspects that you have of spirit. And so when you're only based in logic, which definitely is not the highest form of intelligence, you're going to be, I'm hearing it as like shooting blind, because you don't really know. You can I see a lot of suppression with this person, with their feelings and emotions, and definitely could be from childhood or whatever, but it doesn't matter. They're an adult now. And I just see them like not like leaning on their logic more than their feelings. And actually that bites them in the butt in the long term, but maybe they're not even smart enough to recognize it. Maybe they are so doubled down on their what they think and their logic that they can't face reality of like, okay, maybe they really were with someone that had their back. Maybe the kind of love you gave them, they actually weren't able to receive it because they don't even give themselves that kind of love. That unconditional love that says, I love you exactly where you are. They have a lot of self-deprecating, self-hatred thoughts, I feel like, underneath the surface. But that occurs from someone that puts high expectations on themselves and doesn't actually have the groundedness to their spiritual self to like bring that to balance. So major differences in how you operate and how you see the world. And that's part of why the split occurred. What else can I tell my friend here about this relationship? What else wants to be said? We have the Five of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the Nine of Swords in the reverse. Okay, nice, actually. Okay. So I think you deciding to leave this relationship, or however it ended up, like maybe it's still ongoing, the biggest difference you're going to notice like walking away, or if you haven't already, is like actually the amount of peace now in your life. Like I feel like there's chaos in the relationship, and then as you're leaving, as you're trying to like understand everything happening and as well deal with the emotional stuff, like, but it's because you're so tapped into this partner's energy, and with their energy there is a lot of chaos, because when we're living from our wounds, then we end up giving those to those closest to us, operating from those wounds. So that's where I feel the chaos really was stemming from, was from your partner. And with the Ace of Pentacles, it's saying like now that perhaps you have some freedom, like it's looking like pure potential. Like you started to recognize like, oh wow, I'm actually going to be like fine and more than fine, like leaving this relationship. There's actually like so much life out there for me. Yeah, something like that. Like when you're in the heat of it, in the Five of Wands chaos, it's a lot. It's just a lot, and you just can't see it. But then once you're on the other side, it's like, oh wow, well, maybe so. Maybe this was the right decision. Maybe it's gonna be a really freaking great life. And then I had the Nine of Swords and the King of Wands come out in the reverse. And I love this actually, because I feel like this is talking about the realizations in the aftermath. So let's say that you were in this relationship, you broke up, you went through the months, the years of healing, and now you're in this place where you're no longer, like the thoughts don't bother you anymore. Like, this is maybe down the road for some, but just, you can see yourself along the pathway, no matter what spot you're at. And eventually, the anxieties, the thoughts about this person, they don't affect you the way that they did before. You don't have the amount of anxiety. Like that's what happens when you heal. You come back to yourself, and like the peace, your mental, chatter comes back about you and not about that person. And then you're like, oh wow, it's so peaceful here. And the King of Wands in the reverse is their energy, and that's why I love this so much too, is because with you, they felt like the King of Wands. They felt like on top of the world, to be honest, because it was kind of like they could pull you and they could still be searching on the back end. So they just felt like egoic superiority. But leaving this relationship was a real reality check for them. And maybe they weren't as put together, as attractive, as desired as they thought being in a relationship with you, because you really amplified a lot of that in them. But now that you're gone, and now that your energy is gone, they get to see the reality of themselves. And maybe they aren't as grandiose as they thought they were. So it reminds me of like an ego reality check. That's what I feel that person experiences after the breakup. You lose your anxiety eventually, and you don't put yourself in the position to get, hurt like that again. And they, it will be up to them what they decide to do with that, but at least they can't ignore the facts now. I mean, they can be in denial about it, of course, but kind of not really at the same time. Like, they're not going to have the same energetic, like ignorance that they did before. I should say egoic ignorance. Now they're a little bit more based in reality about who they are, what they have to offer, and how that's received by other people. Okay, so that concludes the tarot. Let's move on to some oracle messages. I'm going to start with the animal oracle deck here. Best message. Nice. It says, small steps, big accomplishments. This is number 8. This is the turtle. Sea turtles migrate thousands of miles each year while swimming at a slow, methodical pace. The key medicine is that what you wish to manifest will take dedicated, consistent, and patient effort. Land turtle reinforces this message about the slow process towards your desire, further speaking to us about how grounded this point of view is. Nothing represents being grounded quite like the land turtle, built sturdy and close to Mother Earth. Small, consistent efforts will lead to long-lasting success. Be patient. Do not rush for immediate rewards. Understand that immediate gratification cannot sustain what is needed for long-term success. Shortcuts yield short-term success, and instant gratification is for the weak mind. Sea turtle is not instantly born in the sea swimming towards his goal. He first must build his muscles by slowly breaking out of the shell and journeying towards his desire to be in the great sea. Allow things to develop at their own pace and plan for a lengthy dedication towards your goal. This is a very promising card as it speaks to happy results. You are building something great, and its full fruition needs time. Turtle's medicine shares that slow and steady efforts are of the most importance to you. Something powerful is in development. What is built slowly stands longer. Nice. And that's a great reminder right where you're at, not to push things too hard, but also not to be too relaxed and just let life pass you by. If there's some kind of goal you're wanting to really move towards right now, those small little steps, like planning to do it for the long term, I think all of that is very important. And it really, it truly is. I mean, we all know this, it's like slow and steady wins the race, truly. So I think this is talking about both the relationship and just how it takes time to heal and process a relationship, but then also this goes beyond the relationship to everything in your life, and how you can have the long term in mind. Sometimes we're so human and we want that instant gratification, but then then it's fleeting usually too. So Now that you have more clarity about who you are and what you want, you can take the slow, dedicated actions to making it into reality. That's what I feel. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to pull from this Mystic Mondays deck. This is an Astro deck. Okay, what is the best message from this deck for my friend? I have Scorpio, deep, intense, transformative. That's exactly where you're at. Yeah, Scorpio. There's no book with this one. And that's the only card that came out. Usually there's a few more, but I guess it just wants to talk about Scorpio energy. So if we look at Scorpio, I'm not an astrologer, but it's something I study a lot. The astrology of the Scorpio, it's a water sign, so it's emotional. It's a fixed sign. It doesn't like sudden changes. It is obsessed with details. Think about like an X-ray machine, like getting to all the fine nitty-gritty details going on underneath the surface. It's investments. It's money that is like very expansive as well. So, and also Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto is the planet of power and deep transformation. So just off the top of my head, those are the things I can recite. And I just see it as that's like likely the spot you're in right now is going through a deep transformation, trying to find out all the little details. I think that's a really wise thing to do as you're processing a relationship. Some people put off the healing process, they suppress their emotions and whatever, and it just ends up like hurting them in the long run. But you're not doing that. You are dedicated to finding out what the truth is, even if it's messy, even if it's ugly, so that you can be that much closer to understanding the truth. Like, that's where you want to be. You're wanting to understand the reality of what has happened. So I just see you as a very inquisitive person, and I think the amount of detail you look into things actually really benefits you. And yeah, I think it's just an acknowledgement of the place that you're at now energetically, which is the deep transformational process. Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna pull from the Rainbow Brain Skull deck. Let's try this one. Oh, one was ready for you. Being out of ideas is just another idea. That's the card. Let's read about it. This is 68. The universe is made of pure creativity forever. There is nothing wrong with needing a break, but the thought of running out of creativity is the definition of absurd. You are made of pure creativity. Truly, that's all we're made of. That's all life is. It's this beautiful, magical, like, infinite thing. So, I don't know. I guess maybe that needs to apply to someone. You will not run out of ideas. Being out of ideas is just another idea. And I know, like, for this card of small steps, big accomplishments, pairing these two together, I'm feeling like you can always, like, pivot the path, but to, like, start with a small step, big accomplishment, like, okay, so I'm just going to talk about my personal goal, let's say right now, of these YouTube videos. For me, I wanted to do 100 videos within a year, and I'm over 70 videos in. At this point, I'm going to finish out my 100 and then figure out, do I want to continue on the same path or process, or do I want to pivot into something different? But I'm giving myself the time and space to just lock in a sense, and put out the output that I have intended to, and just see how it goes. And then from there, I'll make decisions. Do I need to pivot into something different? Do I feel like pivoting into something different? But I think you can use these in combination to say you can start on the path of just creating something, and then eventually maybe you pivot, maybe there's more ideas that come out. But I think one of the most important things is just like starting, getting the creative juices flowing. Even if what you're making and putting out is not that good, that's okay. That's not the point. The point is just to create. The point is just to experience. That's it. So doing it for that's what I feel like, yeah, keeps a person going, can keep them going. So I hope that helps in some way. Okay, lastly, I'm going to pull from the I Create My Reality deck. I am open to receive. Nice. I am open to accepting new ideas, new people, and situations. That openness will enhance my overall joy and happiness. I am open to receiving all the love there is. I am open to healing and to becoming the best me I can be. I am open to serving. I am open to helping. I am open to creating. I am open. That's perfect. And I feel like that's a perfect note to end on, because that's the whole coming back to just being open to create. I am open to creating. Like, I'm open to helping. I'm open to serving. Like, when we take the action steps towards creating just because, like, that's when we open up the doors of opportunity to come to us. But it's almost like you have to build it and then they will come, right? You have to put in the output process without getting the results back, and maybe for quite some time, right? That's the slow and steady, the small steps, big accomplishments. You are looking at it for the long term, but what can you do sustainably, consistently over a long period of time to open up these opportunities? And even on that journey, where can you open up more and pivot? Not like you need to do that all the time, but to have these check-in points with yourself, for example. I have like 5 planets in Capricorn, so I have like a lot of grounded energy and a lot of like looking at the long-term type energy. So maybe it comes easier for me, but I think like in general, I mean, you got to know your chart, you got to know your energy, how you best work with it. But in general, I feel everyone has access to this. I don't think I'm a unicorn. I think it just literally takes knowing yourself, studying yourself through all different modalities. That's what I can recommend. Like, obviously, you know yourself best at the end of the day, but it's really nice to have like a mirror, like several mirrors throughout your life that like really give back to you. And I take I've like studied myself like so crazy through astrology, human design, the gene keys. I've done so much hypnotherapy, anything to like get a closer look at what's really going on. And it's just fun. And I hold it loosely, because at the end of the day, like, I know who I am. But honestly, it's just fun to see it, like, for example, in astrology, written in the stars. Like, I'm like, okay, there's some parallels here. So I think like the study of yourself, and then also just the expression of whatever you're going through currently, important for your well-being, important for everything. So stay open to receive answers about what you can pour yourself into, more so and more so. So that includes your reading. I hope it helps. I hope it brought you some nourishment for where you're at in your life right now. Come on back whenever you need more nourishment. My channel is a library of timeless mystery readings. So until then, we'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, bye.